Yeah, I think it's enough. I think it's going to be difficult for both sides, but that's kind of part of it. And but the body feels fine. Maybe a little bit tired this morning, but a couple coffees and 45,000 screaming, and you're back.
Jason.
Hey, Tork. With all the time you guys have been away from here, I know other players talked about being low on laundry and stuff by the time they were. How much did you have to just take care of like regular stuff when you got back?
Yeah, a lot of loads of laundry last night. Like immediately. Normally I like to wait and kind of like wait to unpack the suitcase, but last night I was just like throw the whole thing in the washing machine. But I mean the clubbies on the road are unbelievable of helping us out, making sure we have clean underwear and socks and stuff. So, but yeah, it was kind of hectic last night, but it's all good now.
Spencer, question about runners in scoring position. You had a huge knock in game 2 with a runner on second, runner on first as well, and I think it was in the 8th inning. What is the approach like when you do have runners in scoring position, and what has helped you find success in those big moments?
I mean, in the 8th inning the other night, it was really just like try to make the situation for the guy behind me better than what it was for me. So it's just trying to get to the next guy. We were down 2 runs right there, so you can't try to play hero ball. I think that's when we get tense and we swing a little too hard and we chase out of the zone a little bit. So right there, it's just trying to keep the line moving and not try to do too much. There's a lot of hits to the right side of second base, and that gave me a lot of ease in my approach, especially with how good Brash's slider and sinker is.
You guys did a lot of good things, especially that second game, taking pitches, forcing Castillo out of the game, a lot of walks. The big hit hasn't come yet. How close are you guys? Do you feel like you guys are to kind of breaking out a little bit and getting some of those run-producing knocks that you were doing during the regular season and the previous?
Very close. I've said it before, like it's 1 click away, it's 1 pitch away, 2 pitches away, which is like that's 30 seconds. So like that's how close we are. And I think our time's coming, especially in big situations. I think we're whatever that click is, we don't know, but we're going to find it, and we're very close.
Feels like this postseason you've had a lot of tricky hops that you've been able to handle. You've also dug a fair amount of throws out of the dirt. How much does working on both of them kind of intertwine? Is working on one kind of help you with the other in terms of either reading balls or just knowing how to approach them aggressively?
Maybe. Preparation's huge for me, and I think Joey Corey is an unbelievable coach to have in preparation. He's not afraid to have early work every single day, and most of us are happy to do that. And I just like to be prepared, and the work we do every single day, we work on scoops every day, we take ground balls every day, and we take those as serious as possible to make it as in-game like as possible, and I think that's been the key for me.
Spencer, it's probably hard to zoom out when you're in the middle of the playoffs, but for you to be here along with Riley and Ding and you guys who all came up together and wanted to bring a winning culture to this organization, what's it mean to actually be doing that and be here in the postseason?
Yeah, it's pretty special, and you're right, it's hard to kind of see that in the middle of a playoff run right now, but it's been unbelievable, and to share this with all the guys that we've come up with and grinded some tough times, some great times together with. It's what makes it all worth it, and just to kind of, we said we wanted to bring a winning culture, and to be a part of that is it's awesome.
Spencer, there are some people who will say come postseason time that you want to be playing well going into the postseason and have momentum. Then there are other people who will say it doesn't matter, it's a fresh season, it's nothing when you get in, right? From a guy who's lived through it now and had to go through the wild card to get to the DS, can you explain what kind of your feeling was, your mindset after the season? The regular season maybe didn't end the way that you guys wanted, but you got in and now here you've advanced.
I mean, whoever says whatever, I mean, kind of depends on what position they're in, you know. So we weren't playing the best coming in, and so we're going to say, you know, it's a clean slate. And if we were smoking hot, we'd say you want to be smoking hot heading into the postseason. I don't think it truly matters. The only thing that matters is everyone has the same record and everyone has an equal seat at the table, and that's the mindset we took into it. And I think it's the right mindset to have. You know, everyone has an equal opportunity to win.
Cody?
Did any good come out of September and the struggles you guys went through there at the end?
Definitely. I think there's always something to learn from, but there's also a lot to take in the previous 5 months of us playing. Is like there was a lot of good, a lot more good than bad. So we can learn from some of the bad, but we don't want to put a microscope on it. We try to put a microscope on all the great things that we accomplished, and I think that's what we've done a great job of handling, is knowing our identity isn't the way we played a lot of the games in September. It's the way we played for 90% of the season, and taking that confidence with us into October has been key.
Back to the at-bat with Brash the other night. First of all, can you explain how, if at all, his slider looks different than a typical right-handed slider? And second of all, were you surprised that it wasn't a slider that you got for the final pitch?
Yeah, it's probably one of the better sliders I've ever seen. I mean, he rips that thing. And I think, I don't know what pitch of the at-bat I got my hit on, but every pitch before that was a slider. So I was a little kind of slowed down, you'd say. I'm never, 99% of the time, I'm not getting off of the fastball. And I wasn't trying to be off the fastball, but I think just my timing was a little late to where I caught it a little deep. But that definitely helped out in that scenario. But I wasn't expecting a slider, but he gave me 5-4 good looks at it. And so to where I had pretty good confidence that I could see everything.
All right, thanks for coming in, Spencer.
Sweet.
All right, we start with AJ.
AJ, do you have a weather report for us, and what do you think about getting this in on time?
Right now, the report is that we're going to be just fine. I mean, I think there could be a little bit of rain, but things are looking more promising than they were even 24 hours ago. So we're going to play. We don't know exactly when we're going to start. Right now, it's on time. I think I'm going to get an update as we get closer to game time, but all systems go from what I understand.
Anthony in the middle in the back.
Hi, Jay.
Hey.
When you guys were last here, there were still a lot of scenarios on the table for you. Just reflecting back on the last couple of weeks, what does it mean to have gotten back here to have playoff home games?
Yeah, it's been quite a few weeks, since we've been back here, and obviously I feel good about it because we've had to earn it. There was an important series in Cleveland where we scratched out a win. We go to Boston, we get walked off, and then we clinch on Saturday. We get back to Cleveland, win an important series in the wild card, and then head to Seattle. So it's been a lot of travel, but it's all been worth it because we've earned the right to be a postseason team and one of the few teams left standing. So resilient group. Obviously, we've gone through a lot to get to this point, but it sure is nice to be home and in the comfortable confines of our space and our houses and our homes and our fans and be wearing the English tee and the white unis will be really rewarding.
When we talked to Spencer today, he said that he feels like close to a breakout offensively because of the quality of at bats, the long at bats, the getting the walks, and what's only been lacking is the big hit. Do you sense that momentum kind of?
We're ready. We're ready for that outcome. I mean, that's our guys are going to remain pretty resolute in our plan and that our best is good enough. I mean, we've had stretches this season where we've been an incredibly good offensive club. We've also had stretches where we've had to grind a ton and scratch and claw and try to find a way to push across a run. And And when you're at this point of the season, just stay mentally and physically in the competition and see, where it takes you. And it's, we have a good mindset about this team. We have a ton of energy, coming home and being, right in the thick of this series. And of course, it's going to take a big hit or a big walk or a big multiple at bats in a row that go your way. Like, it's playoff baseball. And so, obviously it'd be nice to just push the button and say, today's going to be the day for it to be our turn. And it almost was. I mean, listen, Tork had a really good at bat to tie that game the other day in the 8th inning. And that's what playoff baseball is all about. And there's going to be more opportunities like that. And those that step up and can find the approach and then the execution of that approach, going to pay off big in this series.
AJ, what went into bumping Carey back to the leadoff spot, and just what's the value of someone who opposing managers so often target?
Yeah, he gets circled no matter where I put him. I put him first, second, third, I think fourth, and inevitably, every manager on the other side circles him as a point of emphasis, and so putting him at the top makes that decision pretty early in the game when it comes to a third time against Gilbert. Obviously, with Glaber behind him, there's a cost to bringing a lefty in. We always have the second move advantage when you're talking about on the offensive side. So, I can pinch hit at any time, and I have pinch hit in all times. And so, Carp at the top gives him the best chance to create that stress, in the 19th at bat. So, maybe it happens before, maybe it happens after, maybe, the alignment. It could be effective. It could be a non-starter. But I like having Carp get the most at bats he can against a right-handed starter, protected by Glaber behind him, and then Colt and Riley create another bunch lefties. So I've watched the first two games. Both have come at Carp's at bat, wherever that's been, and now by putting him there with Glaber behind him, we'll see how the next game plays out. We may do it again, in Game 4. I might switch it up entirely. You guys know how we roll. So this is the approach against Gilbert, and certainly the way they've deployed their pen in the first two games.
AJ, you mentioned, being willing to move the line around. Glaber has remained in the 2 spot the whole time. His production really fell off in the second half after a big first half. What have you seen from him lately? What does it look like when he's going good, and where is he at right now?
Yeah, no, he has gone through it a little bit, but it's funny. There are hitters when they go through tough stretches where you feel like they need a day, or you feel like they need less pressure, or they need to be moved around. And with Glaber, I never get that feeling because he's in control of his at-bats. They're generally pretty long. Part of walking a lot means you're going to bring in the strikeout a little bit more against a high strikeout staff. He still finds a way to move the ball and move, the other day with the base hit to right, and he's a click away from being the player of the game and getting the most at bats. So I love him at the top because his confidence isn't shaken by a rough patch. It's also doesn't get too high when he's dominating, and that consistency and presence at or near the top of our lineup is a difference maker amongst some pretty potent left-handed hitters. Him in the middle of it, whether he's hitting first, second, third, is a strategy that's worked for us to get to this point.
AJ, you've managed so many games in your career in October. Can you describe the differences between managing in the playoffs and managing in the regular season?
I think the biggest thing that stands out is just the urgency and the emotional roller coaster that you and your guys go through, because of the importance of every single thing that happens. And when I say every single thing, I don't just mean at bat to at bat. I mean pitch by pitch and situation by situation. A wild pitch, a ball one can make you feel more anxious in the playoffs than it does in the middle of the season. And so, keeping a clear head and a calm heartbeat and sticking to your plan is critical, whether you're a player, a manager, coach, whatever. So there's nothing like the urgency that comes with playoff baseball. And I see, listen, I watch every playoff game that I can that's not played at the same time as ours, and I feel the manager's pain and their joy with what goes on game by game, because it matters so much. to every single person in the organization, when you're in October and you're one of the special teams that's earned the right to advance. So you feel the weight of that, and also you're hungry for that opportunity to make decisions, good and bad.
The other night, you got a big wild pitch off of Vargas. He spiked the next fastball like 100 miles an hour, and Raleigh was able to block it. I'm just wondering, as a former catcher, these guys now, these relievers are all max effort. How difficult is it to block balls now when these guys are throwing with such velocity and such stuff?
It's easier when you're Cal because he's a big physical dude. It's harder when you're small, but I think the anticipation is really the most impressive thing. And I spoke earlier this series about how the managers know their teams the best. I think within that, the catchers know their pitchers the best, and that helps that anticipation. And again, guys are all in. They're willing to do anything or put their body in harm's way. Sometimes I think the 100-mile-an-hour spike is probably blocking you more than you're blocking it, but all credit to Cal and Ding. And if Garver and Jake get in there, those guys know that the 90 feet that they can control either with their arm or with their body can be the difference in the game. And that's why hats off to all catchers, former and current.
AJ, thanks for coming in.
All right, you got it.
Run over there. I'll get this set. All right. We get started with Casey Mize. We'll start in the front with Chris.
Hey, Case.
Hey.
Thanks for doing this.
Yeah, of course.
You're a routine guy. We know that. How has this stretch, I think it's going to be seven days.
7, yeah.
How have you dealt with that? And is it different, or does the moment, the size of the moment?
Yeah, I mean, we're going to prepare differently. I think the positive of it would be I feel better, if anything. But also, we haven't thrown on 5 days a lot this season. Like, we're used to kind of the 6 or 7 days at times. So we've kind of learned how to prepare for, 6, 7, 5 days, whatever it may be. So, yeah, I just took a couple of days on the front end before I threw my bullpen and then just went from there. So, yep.
Hey, Casey.
Yep.
Having been away for over 2 weeks, just curious what yesterday was like in terms of obviously getting your throwing in, but also having to do like stuff you do when you get home.
Yeah. We got in, and a lot of us came straight here to get a little workout in and get moving around a little bit after the plane ride and the travel day. So then went home and did a lot of laundry and just trying to get kind of my life back together a little bit after the long road trip there. So that was good. Yeah, it feels good to be back and sleeping in my own bed. So yeah, it was nice to be back.
On the left, Evan.
Casey, just what did you learn from your first postseason experience? Pitching in the playoffs for the first time, and then what do you look forward to about this time around against the Mariners?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was a great atmosphere. It was highly anticipated by me. I really couldn't wait to get out there. I really enjoyed it. I love to compete, and that's the highest level of competition you can get. So I enjoyed it. It's really intense, and I think I'm a pretty intense person, so I kind of can match that, which was a lot of fun for me. So I look forward to getting back out there this time at home in front of our own fans, which will be pretty fun.
Hey, Casey, you found some success after the week where you threw the more expanded bullpen. Have you continued doing that, or did you do that in this period with more days between starts?
I haven't really done a ton of expanded since that one, really. It's kind of just been back to the normal prep, for the last month or so, this week included. I didn't really do a ton extra. I touched the mound one other time this week just to, get on it and feel it again, but touch it again today like I always do the day before my start. So pretty normal routine. Like I said, normally I throw a day 2 bullpen. I took a couple days on the front end and then kind of kept the back 3 days the same. That's kind of what I've learned to do. So, yep.
A few of your teammates remarked just how incredible the crowd was in Seattle. Does that moment just make you guys want to get home to a Comerica crowd, or just kind of remind you that there are other cities too just as hungry as Detroit has been?
Yeah, no, it was pretty remarkable. Their fans and that atmosphere was a blast. So, tip the cap to them for sure. But I know our fans, are excited to have us back home. We're excited to play in front of them. So, hopefully they're just as loud and, apply some pressure on the Mariners like Seattle did on us. So, yeah, we're glad to be home to play in front of our own fans and not have to deal with, opposing stadiums, for the time being.
tomorrow's either going to be clinch or save the season. Is that kind of moment was that kind of the carrot or the light at the end of the tunnel when you went through those 2 years where you were just grinding to hopefully get back to being in this situation? And I know you can't process that tomorrow, but maybe now as you're thinking on it, that what all the work was about, right?
I think so. I mean, I play to win, and that's what I care about the most. I love to prepare and compete and hang out with these guys and travel and do all these things, but winning is what I like to do the most. So if there's an opportunity to do that tomorrow, whether it be clinch or save the season, it's about as good as it gets for me. It's what it's all about, and so I look forward to that opportunity, and I don't fear that. I look forward to it, and so yeah, when I'm going through difficult times or whatever the past few years, like getting back on the field and being productive, but then being called upon to compete, and be your best in times of need. It's like every athlete's dream, I think. So yeah, it's certainly something that I would think about.
Casey, the Mariners lineup has a lot of power, as you well know, especially in the top half of it, and even in the lower half in places.
Yeah.
When you prepare to face a team like the Mariners in the postseason, where we all know how important home runs can be to deciding the game, is that something that impacts how you game plan for a team, or do you take the approach of you're going to do your thing and they'll do theirs and match your best versus their best? How do you approach that?
Yeah, most of it is going to be my best, but you certainly have to respect the lineup. When I view lineups throughout the season, especially in the postseason, it'll be amplified. But I know, okay, these guys can slug, these guys can't. So I think that can affect some decisions of, I'm not just going to groove in a first pitch to get ahead in the count. It's like, it's not just, let's get ahead. They might do damage then. So you need to be a little bit more calculated and more focused with every pitch because, especially if they're up swinging early. But yeah, I always have in mind, what guys can slug, what can't. A lot of these guys can. So yeah, I'll have to be pretty sharp, for sure, like all of us have to be. But yeah, I think it changes the mindset a little bit. But for the most part, I'm going to do my thing. I'm always trying to, stay on the corners and be below the zone and above it, not in the heart of it. But with lineups that can do damage, you have to be a little bit more aware of that 100%.
Just to build on going from your first playoff experience to now your second playoff experience, and you mentioned the first one being so highly anticipated for you. Is it the same internally, or is it different internally for you going into this one because you now already have one under your belt?
No, I think experience helps. I think now I have that. I've pitched in the postseason. And so I think it's, still anticipated, and I really look forward to it. But it's, now it's just about the scoreboard. So it's, and it was, in Cleveland as well. But now for me, it's less of an unknown. Like I've experienced that, I've done it. So yeah, it's it's the same game, but now I have a little bit of experience doing it.
Hey Casey, how are you feeling about where your splitter is at right now, and what kind of it's become for you after it was such a predominant pitch for you earlier in your career? Obviously, your repertoire has expanded since then, but how are you feeling about that pitch right now?
I feel really good. From a run value standpoint, the split has kind of not graded out well this year, just because I've given up some slug on it for sure. But I think if you ask these guys who have watched me pitch all year, what would I be without that pitch? Probably not as good as I've been, right? It's just a staple of what I do. So, yeah, it's frustrating when I, get beat with that pitch, but also, it's kind of my thing, So, it's it's been a game changer for me, especially the left-handed hitters. I think a lot of guys struggle, reverse split wise, or splits wise. So, it's kind of helped me neutralize a left-handed heavy lineup, and actually the righties is something I've been having to kind of focus on the last year and a half of trying to be better against the right-handed hitters. So split's an important pitch for me, always has been, always will be, and I feel much better about it now than I did a year ago. So yeah.
Kind of related to that, but when you add in the adrenaline that you talked about with pitching in the postseason, knowing how your stuff plays, do you have to regulate that adrenaline at all? Because, we've seen your splitter at different ranges, velocity-wise. Obviously, your slider can play, different ways. Do you have to kind of put yourself in a certain zone to make sure that adrenaline works for you instead of against you?
I think the adrenaline can affect my velocity in positive ways, and I won't regulate that. I'll let that go. But I don't want it to mess with how I'm moving at all. If I get too quick or too slow or trying to do too much, then it becomes a problem. But if I'm moving the way I want and the ball comes out better because of adrenaline, I'm gonna let that ride. I'm not gonna try to shut that down now.